Hi and welcome to episode number 11 or 10, one of those. Welcome to the Intuitive Podcast episode 10. Sorry for the very boring background, but we're actually redoing the attic. It looks great, actually. Not when you look at this, but like new carpet, new wallpaper, as you can see. And I have a couch on the way, and it's like, I never want to use this word, but I've been using this word lately. The vibes have been great. And welcome to this episode. I actually wanted to do yoga first today. Such a difficult life, doing yoga and then a podcast episode. But then I was like, oh my God, I want to follow my highest excitement. And I wanted to do yoga, and it wasn't my highest excitement because I had this video in my mind. And I was like, I need to do this now. Like, I want to do this now. Why am I not doing it now? So yeah, I wanted to tell you or talk to you about the profound changes I've made recently that all tie together in this video, and they have a purpose in this video. I wanted to talk about empowerment, actually, and I'm not just saying that because it's written on the whiteboard right there. Empowerment is a part of it, but I think it's also about taking up space, which I've already made a video about, but it's more about you not denying who you want to be anymore. It's literally living life from your desired version. And I want to get into the mental health aspects a little bit, and more so, and also on the spiritual aspect, which basically just means law of assumption, law of attraction and stuff. Because I honestly do think that because I've been through like a very rough depression and an anxiety disorder paired with suicidality, is that a word? Suicidalness, suicidal tendencies, suicidal thoughts. And I've gone through therapy and stuff, but also have always formed my own opinion about it, which gives me both sides, I guess, like the mental health side, but also the spiritual side. And I think sometimes for videos to make sense more, you gotta rely on the mental health side of things, because that's really, truly, actually really helpful. And it was for me too, all those years ago. So this is not a vase, it's a glass, a vase. What's the difference between a vase and a vase? Or is that just a made-up word? Okay, so empowerment. Looking at the whiteboard again. Empowerment. Oh God, empowerment. Wanting to become powerful comes from a feeling of utter powerlessness. Powerlessness. I wanted to make the quote beautiful and like have equal parts on each sentences, but it's like powerful, powerlessness. We kind of know what we do want by knowing what we don't want. You know, when someone goes through something like depression or anxiety and suffers a great deal from those things, but also allows people to invade their personal space, that's when they kind of form a hatred to the world. And oh my God, such a beautiful quote from someone in Once Upon a Time. I'm rewatching the series again. I love it. He said, I don't know, actually, I think it's Dr. Hopper, so Jiminy Cricket, who said this, but I could be wrong. But they said that the people who need love the most ask for it in the most unloving ways. And I was like, oh God, that's so beautiful. And I kind of recognized myself a lot in that, because it's like, when you grow up and you feel like the world is just, doesn't understand you, and especially when someone like me, like I went a totally different route than most of my peers. I just felt alone all the time, like life was passing me by, like I couldn't catch up with anyone. And when you walk that road and you already feel so misunderstood and so alone, you kind of like, you put up walls and stuff, and you, well, you know, by keeping the love out, you're also preventing, or from keeping the hurt out, you're also preventing love from coming in. Like, it's kind of like, sometimes like, how can I add something to this fucking subject that already fucking exists and everyone already fucking knows everything about it, you know? But when you felt so like degraded, okay, and this is where I can add something. We have all felt degraded or offended at some point in our lives. It could be big or it could be small. Some people are just better. Some people are just better at separating themselves from people. But when you've learned how to, or taught yourself how to people please as a cope mechanism, because you always felt alone, and the only way of getting people to like you was basically to do as they said, and that became a part of your personality. But the way that I could add something here is that we've all felt it at some point of our lives. But it's because of us. The honest truth is what no one wants to hear, and it's, you could still and always, you could always blame other people, and you could always say and proclaim, I am misunderstood and no one understands me and I am alone and no one loves me. And that could be true, but that's because you're saying it's true. Because as the universe loves you unconditionally, and this is where the mental health aspect and the spiritual aspect, they meet each other. As the universe loves you unconditionally, and the universe is meaning you, because you are the universe, it will show you exactly what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So, as someone who said her whole life, I'm so alone, no one understands me, there is the rest of the world, and then there is me. As someone who said that every single day, that's exactly what I was shown. And only these past couple of days have I realized that I need to change that. And we all know the concept of, we need to change our inner talking and our inner dialogue and our thoughts and our feelings in order to create a different life or to just have a different outlook on life. Because as you change, the things you look at change. We all know that concept, but do you really know that concept? Do you really realize that for yourself? Because realizing something means not only realizing it here, but also realizing it out here. I think I hear my cat. Never mind, it's just children's screams through the microphone, which sound a bit weird. But realizing that and knowing it, like intellectually knowing the concept, are two different things. Because if you really realize that, that means that you implement it into your daily life. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza would say, it doesn't just become a philosophy. You know, we all know about philosophies and they're fun to read, but do we really we know that intellectually and we know that it exists as a concept, but we don't really realize that for ourselves. Realizing means actively and practically realizing. And as Bashar would say, you have to take action, as this is an action-based world. Not that I mean you have to take action to get results, and not what I mean entirely. But when you take action, you get feedback back from the universe. And this could be even like talking with someone, you know? Maybe you still feel like, maybe you feel like you were a people pleaser, but you are not anymore. And you have a conversation with someone and then you get like negative feedback, or it feels like the same as it did in the past, that's physical feedback that you might know of the concept, that you don't want to be a people pleaser anymore, and you know the techniques, but you're not implementing them because the universe is still giving you feedback. And that's like the beautiful thing about the universe. It gives you feedback even if you don't want that feedback, even if the feedback doesn't feel good. And you're like, give my feedback. Give my feet. Not show my feet. That's a bit weird on camera. So that's a beautiful thing about the universe. And I think that we really forget that we actually don't really change as much as we think we do. Because we could say things and we could say things, and that's just intellectually knowing about it. But when you start really implementing it, that's when you realize it. So I want to get back to the quote of maybe Archibald Hopper from Once Upon a Time. That the people who need the most love will ask for it in the most unloving ways. And this is in the show. It's about evil and good, and it's represented in maybe the evil queen who does so-called at first glance, well, they are negative things because she murders and she manipulates. But she does it because she's alone and she feels like nobody understands her. And it all kind of comes down to not really feeling that you're worthy of love that makes you act in that type of way. Because as we all are love, the only reason why we would be denying ourselves that is we truly to the core believe that we don't deserve it. For some reason. Everyone's reason could be different, but we feel like we don't deserve it. We also feel like that truth there is no truth, but the truth that we believe that it somehow serves us to keep all those people away. And it could be as easy as, I could be serving the belief, like I've had a belief in place for a long time, and I have, because I still kind of do, that I don't deserve to be loved. So what I did and what it really was pointed out to me because of the feedback of the physical universe was that it was just a habit. I was consciously sabotaging myself. When someone would say something vulnerable, I'd be like, okay, yeah. Like I would empathize with them, but if the tables were turned, if the clock turned to me, that's not the same, but I don't care. Then I would be like, no, oh, haha, making funny joke, bye, or just saying something that I knew that they wanted to hear, but not really like saying what I really felt, because I still have a belief in place that I can't be safe with people. So if you have seen me in social situations for the past, 20 years. It was just me like asking about that person, not really talking about myself. And then they would feel really comfortable with me. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really know why we're talking, because I'm not showing myself to you. I'm not laying my cards on the table, and I'm not really showing people who I really am. And that all comes from a belief that I don't feel like I deserve to have profound friendships. And that's why I haven't found those profound friendships yet. Makes perfect sense, right? But it all came from a realization over the past couple of days that it's me who's doing that. So instead of waking up and just saying, or not even saying, but just like, oh, it's going to be another day, or even just like knowing of the concept and thinking that you're going to have a positive day, and you know what, maybe platonically or like very surface levelly, it is a positive day and you feel better than before, but you're still getting the same results. Those are the days where you have to ask yourself, what am I doing the same as I've done before? That's where you really, 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 really realize that the responsibility or your ability to respond is yours. And I get that it can be hard, and I get that sometimes it's automatic, but that's where you know the techniques. as meditating, maybe doing yoga to feel more present and centered, or maybe just not reacting to the thoughts, and really, 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 really not suppressing them. Because do that and they will come back harder, faster, stronger. When you suppress them or you ignore them, I thought always that ignoring was the best way, but now I know to feel them is the best way. Because literally when you feel them and you don't like, oh no, I don't want to feel this, I don't want to feel this, oh no, suppressing them, or you're like ignoring them, but you still feel this kind of like, this discord, you can be indifferent to them. I feel like that's different than ignoring them. You can ignore them, but if you feel that, if you can find the truth in your feeling, right? If you feel like you don't really feel anything of it, like, or you don't really feel anything to it, then I think then you have released the energy. Because how can you feel something for something, or how can you not feel something for something if you don't have a belief about it? You know by the way you feel, because if you feel something about it, that means that you have a belief about it. That's basically what I'm saying. So find that difference for yourself. It's not just like one way to go about this. But I feel like the best way for me was to just feel them. But also realize that this is the underlying thing of all of this, of keeping the love out, you know. And that is that we don't feel that we're worthy of it. But that's like denying your basic truth, because you are love and positivity and true pureness. No, just like, I don't want to feel like we're not God. Okay, I hate the word like gods, right? We're not gods, we're just energy. We're not bigger, better than anyone or anything, but we're also not like these. I don't like it when people say like, oh, we're just these god deities and we are so powerful, because it feels like, to me, I get why they're saying that in order to make us feel powerful, but it still feels like sometimes it feels so unreachable, and you're like, well, okay, I'm this god, deity, woman, man, whatever, and I can levitate on a rock. And if that doesn't happen, then you're like, okay, well, am I not a god, deity, woman, man, whatever, who can levitate on a rock? Like, to me, it's just like, you're just powerful. And the only thing that you need to realize is that the entire universe, every single detail included, nothing is spared, comes from you, as you or we live in a hologram. So a holographic reality, you know, we all know what a hologram is. It needs to be projected from somewhere. And it can only be projected from us, because when you are asleep, or when your eyes are closed, you don't see anything. When you're dead, this whole thing here is gone. So is it then really just like the environment you live in? Is that the truth and the 3D, and that's just what you have to deal with for the rest of your life? Or is it really, 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 really something that comes from within you, maybe even a little bit more spiritual, as I would dare say, you know, if you would entertain that thought a little bit, that maybe this reality isn't all that you see, and all that you see isn't just what is everything. You know, entertain that thought a little bit, instead of just saying like, oh, well, I've been this way for a long time, and now I have to be this way for a long time. Like, that's just not what is true. Because if I was that, then I would still be depressed and anxious and suicidal, and also shy, and I wouldn't do YouTube because I wouldn't be worth it of having a following. Like, that's like, kind of like those are the things that you have to slap yourself on the wrist. Don't do that. But like, just be not strict with yourself. Don't do that. What do you need to do? I don't know. Just do you, babe. No, but like, be a little indifferent to yourself. Because guess what? The thoughts that you're thinking, that's not you. Those are just thoughts that have been translated from feelings, which have been felt over the course of, say, how many years. And those have just manifested into thoughts, translated, if you will, into thoughts, into your being. But that's not you. you know, the whole like, I think, therefore I am, is more true, I am, and therefore I think, because like those thoughts need a vessel. And as I said before, you know, all that you see is not everything. You don't know who is planting those thoughts in your mind. It could be a guide, it could be an angel, and whatever you believe. It could be someone from the past. It's from the past because time isn't real. It could be an alien. It could be whatever. You know, you don't know what's out there. And as more studies are, I'm not really interested in fucking studies. I don't care if you believe me, because I do. I believe me. And that truth feels real to me when I say that this is not everything that is out there. You know, there's more out there. But there's actually nothing out there because everything is just in here. But like the key thing to this, this is another key thing, yes. But like the key thing to this is to really just state who you want to be. State who you are. There's no one more powerful than you, because out there in the universe, the only thing that you'll find is more of you. This was Bashar said. That how can you be scared of what's out there, and how can you be scared of the unknown if what you just find is more of yourself? Because you project everything out of you into the universe. So how could you be scared of what someone says to you? How could you be scared of being robbed? How could you be scared when the only person in the room truly is you? And you know, if you fully realize that, so you implement that into your daily life, do you know how powerful that truth is? Because no one can do anything to you. And this is also from the belief that people can, because as we interact with one another, we're just agreeing very quickly that we can interact with each other, but we're still in our own reality. And if you really feel empowered and you feel like you are your true self, then you're going to attract only those things in the forms of people and opportunities, and maybe you wanted to manifest a new apartment and there it is, you know, like, or a relationship that is so reflective of who you are and you're amazing together. But we forget that we have all the power, and by realizing that you have all the power, you really realize that you don't need all the power, because you feel just, you know, this is, I think so too, the difference of when people say like, oh, I'm not bothered, I'm not fucking bothered. You know, those are the people that are actually the most bothered. So when people say, oh, I don't care about what people think, I really don't care about what people think. People can go, or more the state or phrase, people can go fuck themselves. I've said that for a long time. That's me caring about other people, okay? That's not me just being in my own energy and feeling beautiful and everything that I am and I love everything. No, that is me still caring about what other people think and how other people perceive me. You know, fuck those people, fuck life, fuck this, I'm done. That's what I heard in my mind for a long time. So be honest about yourself too, about that, you know, like, and it's okay. I'm not saying like to, as I said before, feel everything, you know, and allow yourself and just be your own best friend. I mean, would you say to someone else, if they would say like, oh, I really care about what other people think, you would say, well, you don't have to because you're amazing. You know, like, we wouldn't say, oh, don't say that anymore. That's not something that you say because that means you're bothered and that's bad. You know, if you're just a genuine, just a normal, nice person, you will be kind to them. So if you still think that, don't be afraid and don't be hard on yourself, because it's okay. Okay. Ew. Sometimes I hear myself in the mic and I'm disgusted by what I hear. Okay, so the next thing that I really wanted to add to this video, I think it's the last thing, is because I wanted this whole video to be about this actually, but I don't know, I felt just called to do the thing, because I feel like we all like kind of like explore themes in our lives, and I think a major theme of my life, I think that's almost come to a close, and I'm gonna explore another theme. I suddenly switch. Never mind. Okay. So those are your jokes, and I'm like, no, that's not allowed. Okay, so I think like the theme that I have most explored is me feeling powerless, or like wanting to feel powerful and autonomous and independent. And you know, a good example of this was last day, just yesterday, but yesterday, when we were putting in the carpet, trying to find words here, when we were redoing the attic, we had to get some stuff out to, the whole room had to be empty, and I had to take apart a desk. I don't really know a lot of building words, I guess. Take apart, disentangle, just taking apart a desk. And every time my dad was like, oh, should I help you? I was like, no, don't help me. And my mom too was like, oh, you could do this. I was like, Mom, let me do it alone. Because I'm so, I feel so, apparently, I feel so vastly insulted and like someone is threatening my independence when I'm not allowed to do something alone, This is what actually got me to clash with a former boss too a lot, because I was like, oh my God, just leave me the fuck alone. I just want to do this alone. And that's the feedback that I got back from the universe. Is like, oh, I feel like my independence is being taken away from me and everyone is just trying to help me. And I'm like, oh, and another layer of that could be someone is trying to help me lovingly. And I'm like, no, keep that love away from me. Those could be the layers. So I got the feedback back that I don't think even think you say the feedback back. You just say, I got the feedback, and not with a space in between. I got the feedback that I still have some adjusting in my thinking and my feelings to do that, And I have a belief that I need to work on, or not need to work on, but just like that I can let go, that no one is threatening my independence. Because when you come to, or when you have realized things on a certain theme, when the discord is happening or the feedback is happening in the moment, because yesterday I felt like, I felt a bit threatened, but then I was like, what am I doing? And sometimes you're in, maybe you will find yourself in an argument and you're like, I'm saying this, but I really don't want to say it anymore. And you just apologize. And this happened to me recently when I was like, why am I even holding on to this? I don't really care, because it's just about being right now. And that's not something that is worth all of this drama for. That's kind of like the level where you find yourself and you're like, and that's, I think, like a beautiful point of, or like a beautiful stage to be at. And you can find yourself growing and not really caring about what you have previously cared about. And you can let that go because it's not serving you anymore, because you're not getting anything out of it. Because even when you feel like, I feel like I need to be right now, that's something that could serve you, but you have to find that out for yourself. So another thing to make this all a little bit easier, this is what I had to find out the fucking hard way, okay? So this can be like a skeleton key to you, or just like a thing that just fastens your process through this. And it's a really easy concept, and it's staying positive no matter what happens. This is another big point that Bashar really talks about. It's to view every single situation as something positive. So I was like, okay, this I realized through my thinking that I did. And I realized that everything that happened to me and every single moment where I felt disempowered by other people, just me. I felt disempowered by me because I didn't say anything back, right? Not blaming, just taking responsibility and taking the power back, giving that power back to yourself. That's what you're doing. You're not blaming anyone, or you're not blaming yourself. But all the times where I felt like I was shut up or wronged, or I couldn't say what I really wanted to say, those moments, because I didn't allow myself to do the fun things that I wanted to do because I was too scared. I didn't go further in my education. I dropped out of high school and I got a job. That kind of got me out of the normal thing, the normal way of doing things. And I was like, oh my God, I really got to form my own opinion, and I really got to teach myself discipline to do things. And oh my God, I'm not really like a part of the school and the normal jobs, because I didn't really want to be a part of that. Like I never envisioned that for myself. Yes, I missed out on a lot of things, but I also gained a lot of things, because now I'm like, I'm happier than I've ever been before. I've learned so many lessons, and this is all through being alone and feeling alone, because I am alone and I can form my own opinion and I can be safe within that. And I don't have to, I'm not scared of like being influenced by people anymore, because, well, there's only me. So how could I? Those are the things that I learned through feeling alone and lonely all of those years, is that I could really just be with myself, but on a more deeper level. Like, I don't have to care about, and this is not by me saying like, I'm not bothered, like I don't have to care about other people, but I don't have to care. I don't need to be with other people. I don't have to have validation from other people. And I'm alone, and that's perfectly okay. So, how to view everything as positive and why? Because then you can reap the positive benefits. Because then you, the way I did it, because then you can reap the positive benefits. If you are in a job that you hate, if you are at a certain weight that you don't like, if you don't like your body, if you don't have your eating habits in place, if you don't have self-discipline, if you procrastinate, if you, I don't know, don't like the way that you look, I don't know, okay? If you keep looking at it in a negative way, the only things that you will see are negative. And this is just like so easy. This is not, mental health, spirituality, it is not difficult at all. We make it difficult. So when I think about the job that I have now, the physical job, I'm going to look at it positively. What have I gained from it? I've gained a lot of social skills. I have met amazing people and I've met amazing friends. You know how many practical skills I've learned through the job that I have always hated? This job has given me so much, and by viewing it as that, the voice will come in and say, no, you hate this job. Like, remember that we hate this job because this job sucks and this job isn't, it's going to list all of the reasons why you have always hated the job. And you're just like, no, I don't hate the job. It's positive. Because do you actually gain anything from hating it? Does it actually serve you? And when you can answer that with a certain no, that's when that belief will go automatically. Because if something, Bashar too, if something isn't logical, if a certain thing that maybe you're very scientific and people are saying that this is the remedy for a certain disease, but you're like, well, where's the fucking study? Then it's not going to make sense to you. So when something isn't logical, you can almost immediately, if you allow yourself, let it go. This too, with this. And that you can actually view something that was always so negative and so big and so not what you want for your life right now. View it as positive. Because the only thing that, if you really view it as something negative, the only thing that you're doing is viewing it as something negative. And why would you do that? Come to a level where it does not serve you and do this with everything in your life, even if it's something that was always negative, because everything in the world is actually neutral. It's all neutral. If you just look at something, and yes, this is a very vile example, I'm sorry, but this is just to illustrate a picture. Okay, what if someone you love is murdered, maybe violently in front of you? Still, if you don't perceive it as something negative, then it isn't something negative. Illustrating something in an extreme way is something that I really like to do, as to really illustrate that nothing is negative or positive. Because maybe the person that's viewing the murder, maybe a few different people could be viewing a murder, or watching a murder happen. Someone really, who's really, what the fuck, I lost the word. Someone who really empathizes, or empathizes. She or he could be watching and they're like, oh my God, that's really bad. Someone with a psychopath, they could be watching and they could be like, well, I like this. And someone who, I don't know, maybe doesn't have the capacity to empathize. That would be a psychopath. No, that's a sociopath, right? Fucking hell. A sociopath, maybe. They would be indifferent to it. Those are 3 different perspectives of the same event happening, and they're all viewed differently. So can you honestly say that then your job, or in this example, is something that is actually bad? Or is it just something that you say is bad? But by you saying that it's bad, you can only receive the bad things from it. So if you say it is something positive, maybe you just reap all the positive benefits from it. And I still hear in my mind and hear in your mind, but Juliet, no, because we don't want to be here and we have to, hate it for some type of reason. I know that you don't want to be here right now, and that the reason that everyone wants anything is because they just want to feel better because of it, and they think they'll feel better because of it. I know, but as Tom Kieran said from the Be Something Wonderful channel, I love his channel, just by you accepting something, it doesn't mean that you agree with it. As you still, your inner being and you know what your desires are, you know what you want, that will all come to fruition with you seeing things more positively. Because if you really see that thing as positive, or as in the what it's, hoe heet het in Dutch, as we're staying in the realm of this video, maybe you still people please, or you still feel like you're being wronged or being shut up by people. View that as positive. I know how maybe sick and twisted that could feel right now to you, but view it as something positive. It allows you to reap the positive benefits, and it propels you to more positive things, because this is the only thing. Even Abraham Hicks says that sometimes this is the only thing that you need to do is just state positive things about where you're at in order to be where you want to be, because you believe that you'll feel positive and good when you have the thing that you want. So when you just feel positive right now and you focus on things that don't really have to do anything with the subject where you want to go, but you're still feeling really positive, really good about that, well, the universe is then like, oh my God, you're feeling positive, you're feeling good. Well, here you have more of that, because your universe, you're like, well, we're following our highest excitement. Just like what I did, I didn't want to do yoga, even though I planned on doing it. I wanted to do this. Then you or the universe can give feedback, and it's like, oh my God, have more of this, because as the 3 different people who watched the murder, which is just a neutral thing that's happening, it's you who projects everything in here. It's you who decides what's true. So if you say, or if you're saying, oh my God, I hate life, I hate everything, that's exactly what you'll get. So that's a big reason as to why to stay positive. Another thing is that I have written on my cellular device that says, that's another good point. You can have a reaction in the moment, but once you start dragging it along, that's when it becomes a choice. Okay, so this is again about the feedback. If you can have a reaction in the moment, you can. But once you just decided yesterday, when I was getting really mad at people who were just trying to help me, I dragged it along a little bit, but then I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I don't want to drag this along. So I just switched, moods entirely, because I was like, oh my God, just fucking be nice to people, Jesus. Your reaction could be the feedback that you need, or give you the feedback that you need. But if you drag that along and you stay in that feeling, that's when it becomes a choice, especially when you're conscious of it, especially when you're saying to yourself, I want to change this. If you say, I want to change this, that's actually you being conscious of it. So You don't have to be afraid of still having that being perpetuated in your reality. That won't be perpetuated in your reality because you're conscious of it. This is what Bashar says too. When you're conscious of it, it becomes a choice. Why are you still choosing that for yourself? So that's just the thing that I want to end on. You know, like, take the power. Don't take the power. Realize that you already have the power. Take the responsibility, which is your ability to respond. Your whole life will change by just that one fact, but especially by you just believing that you're worth it. Because is it really serving you that you're not worth it? Is it really doing anything for you? I don't think that it is. And in every single stage that you're at, it's okay where you're at. Even when you find yourself, you know, pissing people off because you feel like you're unworthy, it's okay. Everything can always change. You're not stuck here forever. And once you change, as this is a holographic reality and you're the projector, as you change, everything will change. There's nothing that can deny that fact, because that is fact. That is one of the facts of this universe, because it's all law and it's all laws and shit. Okay. Thank you so much for watching whichever episode this was.
10.
I hope you enjoyed. I certainly did. And I'll see you soon in the new podcast room. And I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.